Hey, what's up, guys? Zeal Brothers here. Want to make another video here. This one is about Katie Couric and how she was criticizing Denzel Washington. She had an interview with him years ago, right? This is years ago. And she came up in this interview and talked about how the fact that she was shocked when she talked to him because he had said he went after her for a question that she had asked him. And here's the thing that you fellas need to recognize. Men need to recognize this. Nowadays, women will take your offense as an attack on them personally. And you have to be careful of that because you cannot be seen to be attacking women because women will always be a sympathetic victim, even if you're not attacking them physically or really even if you're not even attacking them aggressively with your rhetoric. So you have to be careful of that because in the public eyes, you will always lose. Now, Katie Couric had asked Denzel Washington a question basically saying, well, Hollywood type people or you kind of Hollywood people do this. And he was like, Hollywood people? What's Hollywood people? I'm not a Hollywood person. I don't know Hollywood people. I'm not from Hollywood, right? So he questioned her in that way. And she took offense to this. And the thing about it is when you look at that line of questioning, it is very mild, right? But she acted like this was shocking, like he just went out and threw a right hook at her. But this is how people take it. The game is not played even-handedly, right? Your reaction is taken absurdly. Think about Richard Sherman. Richard Sherman was asked a question by a sideline reporter, and it was right after a game. He was hyped. He had made a great play. You guys, I'll probably post a link of this in the description, but he had made a great play. And all of a sudden, this lady questioned him. He said, Michael Crabtree better not ever try to come to me. And he was showing his aggression in the game. But this lady had the nerve to act like his aggression was aimed at her. It was completely dishonest. And I was so offended when I watched that at her reaction because ultimately his reaction was not at her. And you could tell he was taken aback by her reaction because he wanted to say, lady, you can tell that I'm not aiming this at you. It should be obvious that I'm aiming this at the game and my excitement for the great play that I just made. The fact that I have literally won the game for us. And what you have done is acted like you are the center of attention, like you're the only thing that matters in this story, when in reality, you're just a reporter asking a question. And the only reason that you're here is because of me. So he wanted to say all that, but he didn't have all the time to think about that. And he was taken aback by her reaction. And ultimately, she was painting herself as the victim in a situation where she shouldn't even have been an object, right? And it points out a couple different things. There's two ways that you can look at questions. The first way is this. There are honest questions and there are dishonest questions. An honest question is one that you really want to know the answer to, right? But a dishonest question shields the intention of the person who is asking the question. For example, somebody might say, some people say, and what they're really saying is, I think this, right? But they're not bold enough or honest enough to say, I think this. They say, some people say, or it has been said. Who said it, right? I always ask, who said it? Quit saying some people say. You hiding behind that phrasing to be dishonest. A lot of times a question will be dishonest in that it'll try to paint you in a box. That's what Denzel was objecting to. Paint him in a box and try to describe what kind of person he is without giving him the chance to explain what kind of person he is. So it puts you in a box and you don't like that box. You try to break out and now you're going to be the one that's not answering the question or attacking the questioner. So that is one way of describing questions. Another way of thinking about questions is that they could be considered in either an inquiry or a challenge. So think about this. When you ask a question, you might genuinely want to know the answer. And this is just it's kind of another way of phrasing the first one I said. But an inquiry could literally be, hey, man, what have you been doing the last 10 years? Right? That's an honest inquiry. But another question is, have you done anything with your life in the last 10 years? Now, that's a challenge, right? So an honest inquiry is going to ask you to explain something in your own words and basically give you an open floor to answer the question. A challenge is an attempt to attack with a question. Now, challenges are not always bad, right? Jesus had challenges to people. And he asked lots of questions to people. The Pharisees asked Jesus a lot of questions, and they were challenges. I ask questions, they're challenges. People ask me questions, they're often challenges. There's nothing wrong with that, but here's the thing. Challenges should be met with strength. So when you ask a challenging question or when you ask a dishonest question, you should not expect the answer to not be aggressive. It should be aggressive because it is trying to meet your challenge or challenge your dishonesty. And so a lot of times people have said things like, there are no dumb questions. Well, there are. There's dishonest questions. There's challenging questions. And as a man, you really have to be ready to answer those questions because you have to realize that the audience might not receive it the same way that you receive it. So I want you guys to just read that Denzel article. I'm going to post a little bit of it's kind of an opinion piece about it. I'm talking about the fact that Couric is trying to make a big deal out of this. And it's kind of is distasteful to me. So, hey, just check it out. But just be on a note of this, men, because, people are after you. Even a question is not as innocent as it seems.